pull out a memory, observe it, put it back, and then put our focus back here in the present moment. Hey, welcome back to Uncivilized Rebirth. You are my mission. The reason I say that is over the past 42 years, I have been through many, many things and I've learned many, many things. And I hope to share that here with you to help you navigate life. That is not saying I'm an expert at life yet, but I've learned a whole lot about dealing with it, mitigating the pain, going through stressful times, and recovering and getting back up. And so, that being said, it's like life, man, it can be brutal, like totally brutal. And I have no doubt you, the person watching this right now, has been through many trials and tribulations that you had to endure on your own. Maybe you had people there with you. And you sit back sometimes and you wonder, it's like, why does this happen to me? Why do these things keep going on? And it's like, how do I deal with that? Because so many times, like, we'll go through something and we were not prepared for it. Nobody told us how to deal with this stuff, and we were just thrown into it. And then it's up to us to navigate it well. And the sad part is, if we have a hard time navigating that, and on the other end of that, we're frazzled, people will look at that and dismiss you or gossip about you or talk trash about you and not be there to be supportive. Because believe it or not, surprise, surprise, there are some groups of people who are loving, kind, and supportive. Then there are some people who live to tear people down. And the way they cover up their own darkness or their own shortcomings or the things they will not identify in the mirror is by picking a person and talking about them. So then when they're in conversation, like, look at this person, look at this person. And then this person starts thinking about that person they're talking about and they're avoiding their own darkness. And a lot of times they are projecting on other people. And the perfect people to use in those conversations are us, the ones who go through tragedies over and over and over and endure traumas and endure heartache. And we go through it and we come out the other end and we're just like, what the crap? Because if you're like me, you've gone through something, you thought you had life figured out, and then on the other end of that surprise in life is got you totally turned around and you do not view anything the same. People's masks come off or have come off. You see people for who they really are. And then you start realizing your own strength and your own endurance. Because those same people that will look at you and trash talk you and treat you like crap when you're in the middle of your darkest hours, they couldn't endure half of the things that you've been through. It would be impossible for them. And they actually sit back and enjoy somebody being broken. And what the sad thing is, like, that hurts us even more, but it validates our strength. Because I'm sure that you've been through those and you come back and you get back up and you keep striving forwards. And that's part of what I have come to realize life is about. It's like, do you give up or do you keep striving? Do you get back up and you're like, this is what I want to do? This is what I truly feel led as my life's purpose. I'm going to continue doing this no matter what happens. And like, you may not see results for a very long time, but it's that burning desire in your heart, that drive, that life fuel, that fire of a mission to never surrender, never quit. And so a lot of this, like, endurance is on the inside as well. Like, how do you deal with your thoughts? How do you deal with your emotions? How do you deal with imagining the future? How do you deal with looking at the past? And can you objectively look at what's going on around you? And a lot of time the case is all that's jumbled up. Our brains aren't organized in the way that will allow us to pull out a memory, observe it, put it back, and then put our focus back here in the present moment. Because what can happen is we will pull a bad memory out from the past, or let's just say a memory that was very intense. We look at it and then we try to pull back into the present moment. But now we have the lens of, oh no, everything's going bad. Oh no, like I'm hurt. I'm wounded. Oh no, this has happened. And it's like, no, it's like our present moment can get befuddled, maybe that might not be the right word, with the present moment and step in between our awareness and what's happening on the outside world. Side note, here's something to think about. Nothing happens outside of you. Everything that you see, hear, and touch registers on the inside. Think about that for a second. So things that you see way, way, way over there, they're registering inside your brain where your awareness is observing it, and it has this coding of distance to appear to be far away or have distance. So think about that for a hot minute. When you feel things, are you actually feeling that on the inside of you, or is it registering in your brain? Anyway, that's something I learned about and I thought was really fascinating. So that it made me really kind of shift my awareness, what was going on. So we go down that rabbit trail of life, things happening, remembering the past and getting stuck in that. It's like, how do you file that away? Like, how do you be okay with that? How do you forgive people? And so what has helped me, sorry, my throat might cough or my diaphragm might contract in a very quick manner, expelling air from my lungs. So anyway, so like, how do you access those memories without them muddying your current worldview? And so I started to view them as stories in a book in my brain. And when those memories would pop up, I would imagine that there's a book opened up and that I was reading that story out of a book. And that changed my perspective totally on it. And the past became a story. And I started seeing strength in it. I was like, wow, like I endured that and I came out stronger. I healed from this and I came out stronger. And so it starts becoming chapters and then volumes and like a full book and then more books and then volumes and just like a full rows and rows of these books full of these stories of triumph. It's part of like becoming the hero of your own story. So if you watch a movie and you see this hero go through really dark times, but it turns out it's like the fulcrum of the story where they truly discover who they are and what their power is and how strong they are. And then they step into their true self. And it's like, without this chapter in the book, this dark, dark chapter, our hero would not be able to step out and help others and step into the actual story and the actual plot line. So I was like, we have to view that, like take a step back and stop viewing our lives as just like images that pop up in our brain and think about what we went through and then start using our imaginations about what we could have done or how it could be, and start using our imagination to reframe that memory as part of our story. And then what you can do that next, or what I do, is like I imagine closing that book up and putting it away. And so I'm basically filing that memory away of like, I don't want to read this right now. It's not applicable to what's going on, because here's what I've got going on. Here's what I'm going to focus on. And then I step back into the identity that I choose to have of being solid, whole, connected with my soul, and ready to step into the next chapter and focus on writing the chapter or the pages of that day through my actions. So if you have like a movie, let's say you're trying to, let's say, record like on your phone a butterfly flying around. Then somebody comes up with another phone with another picture of a butterfly and puts it in front of that. And it's like, you're messing it all up. I can't film what I want to film. So that's kind of what happens with those memories when they pop up. We don't want them to. It's getting in the way of like what's actually happening. And then that identity from the mirror, oh my gracious, from the memory can bleed over into our current identity. So we could be having an awesome day, just, on top of everything, doing great. And then we remember something from the past, and then just this dark gloom will come over us. And that's kind of us taking on part of that memory of that identity and those feelings in that moment and just allowing it to step in and be part of our process. Versus when that memory pops up that you don't want of the past, not that you don't want, but it's like, it's there. You can't get rid of it. You must deal with it. And ignoring it means it will only pop up later in ways that will not present well. So, in reframing it as in, this is part of my story, but I'm going to close this book because I'm the author of this. Like, I am the leader of, or I'm the decider of when I read the stories in my library, the history of this object, this group of cells and nutrients and whatever you want to call this put together, held together by life with the soul plugged into it. It's like the history of this thing is kept in here and can be accessed. So I need to be in charge of when I access that stuff. So it's like, no, will not access this because I'm in charge of it. And now I'm going to step back into this day. And then we're in life where it's like, we don't know what's going to happen next. And our imaginations can run crazy with ideas, or we have these running dialogues in our mind. Like, how do you deal with that? Well, it's like when you start imagining the future, it's easy to start imagining that stuff's real, but most of the time that stuff doesn't happen. It really doesn't. So you can just imagine like that's a book of just possibilities. Close it up, put it away, and just like, I'm gonna see what actually happens here. And let loose of control. Like, we have to let loose of control and the idea of things are supposed to happen this way. Things have to do this. I want this to happen. There are billions of other people in this world who have free will to choose and decide. And for us to expect that any split moment that is not us controlling our movements and our thoughts and our words is within our control, we lose grasp of reality. Because reality is all these other millions and billions of people make their own choices. So we cannot expect for a split second when we step out that door for things to go the way we want it to. So as soon as we let go of the illusion of what we want and what we expect, we can look at it reality and accept it and be like, this is the way things are, and they have full control over themselves, and I have full control over myself, and I'm going to accept their behavior, but I'm going to choose to behave how I want to, not based on their behavior. And when you let go of your expectations and what you expect life to be and how you want other things to happen, you become far more free, like just far more free. And then you can focus on yourself. Like, this is how I'm going to conduct myself. And I'm not going to base my actions on my disappointments when the world does not conduct itself the way I expect it to. Because believe me, it will never, ever conduct itself the way you want it to. Because how in all reality or possibilities could what you imagine other people do and actually happen when they have free will? It's not going to happen. Okay, so life can suck and it can be miserable, but also it can be wonderful and amazing. And when we start accepting the world for the way it is and choosing ourselves, how we're going to conduct ourselves, stop having expectations of other people in the world, and also not looking back to the past of how we should feel, but look at that as our story that empowers us. Like, look, This is the turning point in my hero's journey. I went through this dark time, but on the other side, I came out through the fire. And when you start looking at yourself that way and looking in the mirror and telling yourself, say, hey, I love you, I love you, I love you, and be your own best friend, then things start to shift dramatically. You stop looking externally for validation and you stop looking externally for everything to happen for you, but it's just happening the way it is. I'm going to be finished now. Roadhouse, spiritual hard.